What's up, everybody? Welcome to another amazing video inside the Media Cabinet, where today, it's not a sad one, but we are talking about our final Halloween Horror Nights 35 original house. That's right. Today, the final original house for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando has been revealed, and we're going to talk about it, and we're also going to go back and talk about each of the originals, and I'm going to give my ranking for my hype list for them. I would say this is looking to be a really good year for originals. Now, last year was amazing. Even though I didn't get to physically experience Halloween Horror Nights 34, I really do think that one of the all-stars of last year was definitely El Artista, A Spanish Haunting. And I think, this year we may have, an original contender that may add up to something like that. But who knows? We can't really judge until we actually go and experience the houses. But this last one that was revealed today, Horror Nights is going to be trying stuff that they've never tried before. And from what I've read in like articles and everything, they're going with all the stocks. They're pulling every single one that they could quite possibly do and get away with this one. And this house is being called Invasion Alien Abduction. A little bit of a mouthful, but it's gonna work. People are saying, okay, that this is a combination of the Invasion scare zone from Halloween Horror Nights. I think it was 2018 or 2017. I can't remember. I think it was 2018. And then in the past, there has been houses that were titled Lightning Gulch, and then The Curse of Lightning Gulch, which was the sequel. And it's not in any way, shape, or form. Universal didn't confirm that it's a combination of that, but it's kind of sounding like that. So Universal announced in an article that there are going to be tactics that they are going to try for the first time that they have never tried before. And what's going to be welcoming you into this house is basically they're fitting a UFO the size of a football field in the house. And they're wondering, how are we supposed to do that? Well, they're going to use tactics, of course, using light and whatever set pieces that they can combine. This is going to be a set story house, where the set is really telling the story. And it's going to be gory, it's going to be creepy, it's going to be extremely scary, from what is in the article. I think you can find the article on Nerdist.com. And then, again, how Horror Nights is always upping the scare factor and their tactics of how to scare you. And there's going to be like tentacles sticking out, and we're going to get touched with a whole bunch of so it sounds really scary. And I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to it. So going back on every original house that was announced this year, and here is a picture of every single one of the posters for the announcements for the originals this year. Of course, the first one being Jack and Oddfellow, Chaos and Control. Of course, that's our icon's house, Dr. Oddfellow and Jack. Then the second original was, of course, H.R. Blood and Guts presents a Halloween Fightacular. Then followed by Madlands Caged Cannibals, Cybergoria, and then as of today, Invasion Alien Abduction. And when I saw this be announced, when I went on Twitter, as just a joke, I said, please let there be a jump scare where we see a cow getting beamed up to a UFO. Just, my brain went to that and I just thought it was funny. Um, so I really think we have a really good, solid lineup this year for our originals. And I see them being really good and working very well. Um, like talking about Cybergoria, which I talked about yesterday. How the story is like, okay, so there's an easy way and then there's the more expensive way, and the easy way is the cost efficient way. But if you want this to happen, you got to be put in like plastic bags and cryogenically frozen, and then to keep the keep the skin tissue alive while it's waiting on newer enhancements with technology, they're fusing robotics with human tissue and everything. And seeing how that's gonna work, it just sounds creepy. Um, HR Blood and Guts, I really think that's going to be the comedy house this year. But then again, I could also be wrong, and Horror Nights could really be upping the scare factor this year. Um, and it might turn out to be more scary and less comical, but also with a little bit of comical. Um, Madlands, they have said in articles that was released with the house that this is going to be a bloody, gory house. Um, and it's because you have humans that are acting as animals that are taking up those traits, taking up those fractions, and they're gonna go balls to the wall, cannibalistic, gory, bloody, and just be as creepy as possible. Um, with Jack and Oddfellow, with their house, we're seeing a deeper look into Jack's origin than what we already know, and from what I've seen with the concept art and everything, the sets look amazing as well, and I think the house is really going to shine and be extremely beautiful. Um, and then Invasion, Alien Abduction, it's gonna go in ways that I don't think Horror Nights has ever pushed the boundaries before, you know. And you look at also out in Vegas, you look at the Halloween Horror Nights event that's out there, Horror Nights Unleashed. Um, and maybe they can adapt from what Horror Nights does out in the parks and put that into effect in their experience, which they do. You got Area 15, um, or is it Area 51 or Area 15? I can't remember. It's Area something. What they do out there with using Omega Mart with Meow Wolf and everything, that's already like a psychedelic experience with the interactiveness of their art experience and everything. So, but I want to go ahead and talk about my hype list. So, number one, I'm definitely going to put Jack and Oddfellow, because I loved walking through 25 years of Monsters and Mayhem for the 25th anniversary. Seeing the icons and everything, and seeing Jack and the usher, storyteller, caretaker, and everything. And then I loved walking through Oddfellow, Twisted Origins. That was a really good house in 2023, 22? I don't remember. And then number two is going to be HR Blood and Guts presents a Halloween Frighttacular. Because, again, as I explained in my announcement video for that house, I never got to experience anything with HR Blood and Guts, but I know his popularity within the Horror Nights community and how much of a side icon he is. So I think that's going to be really fun to experience. Number three is going to be Madlands, Caged Cannibals. I think, what they're saying about how this is going to be top notch, the bloodiest house this year. and how it's going to be extremely gory as well. I'm all for it. If there's going to be a lot of interactives or stuff in the face and guest interact activated scares, give it. Um, Number 4 is probably going to be Invasion Alien Abduction. I'm not saying that I think it's going to be bad. I want to see some good scares, and I'm really excited to see what Universal is testing and working on to make this house possible. And number 5, I'm going to have to give to Cybergoria. Again, I don't think it's going to be terrible. If they can pull off some really good scares, then I think my rating at the end of the year may definitely change. And you got to see how it goes over the course of the event. It changes every night. It changes every week. The scare actors are always adapting and working on what they did during the last week to enhance on the following week. So, with all that being said, guys, thanks for checking out all of these videos for the original week. But our Halloween Horror Nights Orlando adventure does not end here. We have more houses to talk about coming soon. We gotta still talk about the other intellectual properties that are going to be announced, and we gotta talk about scare zones and the shows. Again, as of right now, that's still unknown to some people. To some people, they know what it's going to be. But with all that being said, guys, thanks for checking out this amazing video. Thanks for watching all the videos for this week, talking about all the originals. And I think this is going to be a really great year for Halloween Horror Nights. It sounds like 35 is going to be a great anniversary year. So, as we say in the Horror Nights community, we will see you in the fog. Bye for now.